Hey everybody, welcome to That's Good Stuff, our show where we take deep dives into pop culture's newest releases. So the new release this time was a return of a beloved king, Godzilla Minus One. Minus One.
I just
So
realized
this
I don't
is
understand that title.
No one.
everyone kept calling it minus zero. I'm thinking that it's like T minus one, like the bomb.
That's what
dropping
I
or something.
thought, but I don't know. No one's ever talked about it, honestly.
So this is a Japanese language movie, so you have to watch it in subtitles, just so you know. But I'll do a real short plot because it's pretty much Godzilla. It's Godzilla post-war Japan. So like we see the very end of the war. It's like, hey, the war's ended. There's a pilot. He lands on Odo Island. And there's a bunch of mechanics there, and they're like, "Hey, your plane's not broken," and he's like, "Oh, how about that?
Check it out again."
So he's actually a kamikaze pilot, and he, as you can tell, has big doubts about the mission. So he's on this island, and at night, a monster attacks, and this is a very small form of Godzilla, kind of going back to his original origin where he was an irradiated T-Rex. So he was radiated and he turned into Godzilla. So they pretty much followed that origin of him. He attacks the island. The guy has a chance to shoot Godzilla and end it like in the movie, like right there, because that probably would have worked. But he was too frightened because it's freaking Godzilla in your face. And a lot of the mechanics got killed except for one. And that guy is not a big fan of the pilot because he could have saved them, but he didn't. So the pilot is on a boat. Last of the mechanics gives him a picture or the pictures of his friends so he doesn't forget them. And he goes to, I guess it's Tokyo.
Kept saying like Giza or something like
Ginza.
that. Ginza, yeah.
Which is like part of Tokyo. It's like a suburb or something.
Prefecture.
So Tokyo's been bombed. There's not really anything standing where he lives. And he kind of got a shack and he's going to like bread lines because got no work right now. And he meets a young woman who has a baby, but it's not her baby. She just the parents asked her to take care of the baby, so she's kind of like stealing food and stuff just to survive. They kind of form a little family unit. It's very cute. And then Godzilla returns. We see the U.S. has been tracking Godzilla, but they can't. And Godzilla's headed to Japan, so they can't really fight him because they're worried that they'll upset the Soviets if they send ships into that area. So they're like, "Hey, Japan, you got a monster coming." And they're like, "Oh, shoot." The pilot works as dismantling mines. He gets a pretty good job. So that's what he does. They got to get on a wooden boat. So because the mines are magnetic and they don't want to blow up. But they send the boat out to find Godzilla because their big battleship, which it's like a Tatamako or something like that. Don't know exactly the name.
Something like that.
Something like that, which is an actual battleship in Japan, or was an actual. Actually, it's not there anymore. But
because Godzilla took it out.
Yeah. So they're on their way, but they gotta stall them. So the fishermen, they do their best to stall them. And the battleship arrives, they fight, Godzilla destroys the battleship and then like goes back underwater. And then we get this scene where there's basically the military of Japan doesn't really want to do anything because they're kind of caught in the middle of the Soviets in America. So the citizens of pretty much former military men, they're going to come up with a plan to stop Godzilla. And they make this machine that might work. Basically, their plan is to give Godzilla the bends. So the whole rest of the movie is this battle to see if we can defeat Godzilla, and then it deals with the pilot's kind of mission to avenge all the people he got killed and his guilt that he feels for failing in his mission as a kamikaze pilot. So, and that's pretty much the end of the movie. It ends in the action scene. So, very cool movie. I like this a lot. Is there anything you guys didn't like? Let's start with any negatives to this movie, because I think the positives are gonna last us a long time. So, is there anything you guys didn't like about this movie?
I hated the whole thing. Terrible. Just kidding. Just kidding. There are a couple things I don't like though. So one thing we didn't mention was his friend who. I really like the relationship. No, I'm saying I like it, but the part that I like the relationship that they kind of drag out to where he doesn't want to marry her because they keep using the phrase, you're still stuck in the war. And then so she ends up, saving him at that moment where Godzilla shoots off his laser breath. What's it called? Heat breath? Atomic breath. There you go. His hot breath. And she shoves him off and like just gets taken out by debris.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing I don't like is the fact that, spoilers at the very end. She is Frodo in a bed and just laughing and giggling, man. And I'm like, so
I know it was a little much that she survived.
So when this happened, I told Carlos, like, shouldn't she be like Two-Face in the Dark Knight, like,
well, that's
that
the thing. Stuff. He gets punched. The main guy gets punched twice, and he looks like Quasimodo for a moment. Like his eyeball's gone. She got taken out by chairs, tables, debris, brick, everything. Probably flew hundreds of feet, and is just
twice because it came back.
She's flawless, man. She's flawless. I was like,
well, she like got taken out, and then like several seconds afterward, the wind just kept going.
Yeah, it was like
with all the debris going. I was just like, "There's just no way."
I was like, "Why didn't you just tackle him into the alley?"
They never do that.
It was a big alleyway too. It wasn't small. So
maybe something came out and grabbed her.
I think they visually did it well, where she kind of like pushed him, and then it like took her. Like it wasn't like she just like pushed and went that way. Like.
Yeah, it was a good scene.
It was quick. It was quick. So I believed it, but I didn't. When she popped back up, I was like, no, she should have stayed dead.
The scene itself was good because I liked her like just floating up.
Yeah,
it was pretty cool.
It was very unexpected for me. Like that.
I was like, wow.
Gosh, like this movie hits emotionally a lot, and that was a really big emotional moment where I was like, dang, dude. So I thought that was really goofy, and then the other thing was just some of the dialogue was wonky, but apart from that, I thought the movie was excellent.
Yeah, that was my only negative too, is that she survived. I kind of wanted her to just to be the main dude and then his now child, but I mean, you want a kind of happy ending after that because it was kind of a downer most of the time. So,
Thomas, did you have anything you didn't like about the movie?
Yeah, I didn't. Okay, so the whole atomic breath scene where she gets taken out, that was a good scene. I wish they either went with it or they just didn't include her dying, because I didn't think it really made much sense at the end. Like, that was kind of weird. I wasn't a huge fan of the Godzilla special effects in this one.
They were hitting him. Oh, that was another thing. Sorry, his eyes. I hated his eyes.
Really?
Yeah.
Not just his eyes, but his movements when he goes like this. It looked like stop motion, but not in a good way. It looked like it was missing like 3 or 4 frames when he was like turning. I was like, that's not very good looking.
Yeah, I didn't like the smaller Godzilla.
Really? I saw that and like I got really excited when I saw that.
I liked that intro where it's literally
when they first
movie.
Show him, it's cool. It's like
then you get like a good look at him. You're like, it doesn't look great.
I thought he was going to move
CG
like that the whole time. I thought that was cool, but then he just ended up being,
Japan's CG is always kind of iffy. Like even like Shin, and then like their anime to
love Shin. Like
even their anime to like live action. That CG is pretty bad too.
It's like almost like a stylistic choice because it all like it's very similar. Yeah. Like, I feel like Godzilla, they could have done it less the way it was, but I feel like it's almost like an homage to the older.
Yeah, they
movies.
said that they wanted to pay tribute to like the guy in the suit, so it looks like a guy in a suit kind of.
I don't prefer it.
Yeah, I get that, but the rest of it doesn't match up with that style like at all. Like if they're going to go for that, then honestly, the whole movie should have been kind of like retro.
Yeah, there was some CG, like the tanks They looked really fake. And then the plane at the end when it's kind of flying around by the mountain. At first,
when it's like in the mountains,
yeah. At first, I didn't like it, but then I was like, it's kind of like retro.
When it got out onto the water, it looked way
plane?
better.
Yeah,
I like that plane.
Yeah, when they first showed it, it was a little weird looking, but yeah, like you said, during the battle, it was better looking. But you got to remember, they made this for like 15 million. The low estimates is like $15 million.
Wow. Yeah.
Good on
them. But you compare that to like Wish was like 200,000.
I was gonna say if Disney did it, it'd been like 300 million.
Yeah, 200 million.
Otherwise, like I just didn't really care for the story all that much. Just wasn't
really. Wow.
It didn't hit me very hard. Like I was just like, okay, some of the acting was very good. Like, okay, the whole atomic breath scene, that's probably the best acting in the movie, I think, where he just like completely freaks out.
Oh yeah, I did like that. Where he's like screaming.
And the dinner scene that he has with the friends and her, that was a great scene. I really liked that scene. But the rest of it, I was just like,
really, I love the story in this. I thought it was like the best Godzilla story I've ever seen. The drama of just like this little family coming together after the war. I could have watched the whole movie just with them, even without Godzilla in it, because it's just like they find this kid, this girl that he kind of likes, but he doesn't want to really marry her because he doesn't feel like he's ready for that kind of. Like he said, he had to move on from the war. He's not done with the war. I love that stuff, man. And I really like the messaging in this movie about like Japan. I mean, their culture was dead at this point. And this movie really gets across that they had to like get a culture of life instead of a culture that because they like living in shacks. They really have to pull themselves out of it. And we know from history that they went on to be very prosperous, and they call it like the economic miracle of how Japan recovered from the war and everything. So I really loved how they showed that with Godzilla and stuff. And I just thought it had great messaging about family and stuff like that, and about wanting to live. And yeah, I love the drama of this movie. But what are some other stuff you guys like?
Going off of the story, I like the progression of how long of a time frame we saw. So like, him coming out of the war, then it would like go year by year and seeing the kind of progress they have, but he still couldn't let go of the past. And then going into, like you're saying with each of the characters, like I agree. I feel like I said earlier, even the emotional weight of each character, I really, really enjoyed and was surprised by. Even like the guy they kept calling the kid, where he comes in with the tugboats in the end. I'm like, oh, you got me there. Gosh dang it. But like everyone had their moments. And then the big moment that, like I felt like it just really tied the beginning to the end was with the actual mechanic. Whenever you kind of see the ejector seat coming in, but then they kind of cut before you show it, and you're like oh man, they kind of like hit that moment where they accepted each other and moved forward. And I was like, man, I don't know, I really enjoyed all the characters and everything. Like I said, like there were goofy dialogue moments and lines, and I'm like, okay, it's.
Yeah, when he like first meets the boating guys, it's like, oh, there's the silly guys of the movie. So there's going to be the.
That doctor looks so cool though. Like his hair is fantastic with the glasses. Like
that
he
dude looks
so
like
cool.
something out of a Kojima game. Or something.
He looks. Dude,
that dude looks like a young man dressed up as an old man. I was like, "There's no way he's that old."
He was awesome. And then I like how they're like, "Did you guys know he was such a bigwig?" Like,
oh yeah,
he's like leading the whole charge of it all.
Did you catch the ejector seat was German?
Was it?
Yeah. It says it on there. So,
Jared?
I love this movie. It's probably my movie of the year. I think this is the best mixture of, because usually with Godzilla movies, you either have the good human story or you got the good Godzilla story. I thought this was the perfect marriage of both. I thought it wasn't lacking in either aspect of it, so I was very impressed. I was so hyped after this, and Michael's right. Go to a Godzilla movie with Carlos, because you'll both be like geeking out.
Oh yeah, anything with monsters, go with Carlos. He's just like.
Yeah, I think he's like the only one of our friends, other than like Jonah and stuff that knows as much Godzilla as we do. So I was like, dude, this is awesome. He was loving it too.
I got to shout out Jonah really fast. I read his review on Letterboxd today. That was so well worded. I was like, oh my gosh, Jonah, this is impressive as heck. It was awesome. So I had to shout that out.
Dude, talk about geeking out when Godzilla enters the city and it plays his theme. I was like, dang,
dude,
man.
They did such a good job with the score in this, like blending the kind of intensity with modern music, but they also bringing that just classic theme in that I'm not too familiar with because I don't know a lot of old Godzilla. But I was like, it even hit for me. I was like, man, this is dope, dude. I loved how they did
every time that theme comes on, I get chills, dude. Like, I'm like, oh, he's coming. Things are going down.
There was another part where during the end battle where there's just silence because like Godzilla's like revving up to shoot them. So it's just like all silent.
Oh,
the whole theater was quiet, man. No one was like talking or anything. They were just like anticipating this blast to see what happened.
So talk about the theater experience, sorry, Jared, because you brought up being with Carlos. It was a little disappointing. I went at 10:45 this morning to movie 16. Which I thought had closed when I got there because there was one car in the parking lot, and then I'm pretty sure I was the only human being in a theater all morning. It was very bizarre, very weird.
Kind of weird is that's like the dive theater now.
And I got out and everyone started showing up. It was just like, everybody leaves church or whatever, and they finally get in. But so whenever that silent moment came in, which was awesome, but I could hear Trolls playing in the theater next to me, and I was like, no one's watching it. Why is it on? Turn it off so I can enjoy the silence of this part. It's sad.
What'd you think about them saluting Godzilla at the very end?
But I thought they were saluting the pilot. Were they saluting Godzilla?
Yeah, I think they were. I'm not sure why they were, but
pretty sure they were saluting the pilot because he was coming back. He was
floating down.
Kind of were looking because after they pointed him, and then they all look up and do that.
Yeah.
I thought they were saluting Godzilla.
Godzilla's just going down.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why are they saluting?
That was one more negative. At the very end, when he crashes into the mouth, I wanted the smoke to be coming out of his head the whole time he was sinking instead of him like deteriorating.
Yeah.
That way, I mean, you all know he's coming back, but it'd be like a little visually better because you don't actually see anything more. But I liked it. I do like Godzilla's design in this though, like the whole like the initiation for his atomic breath, like the spines coming out.
Oh, that was very cool.
Going back in. I thought that was a really cool choice.
Yeah, you going off of that. I loved the cleverness of the plot with Godzilla, like trying to get that decompression of sinking him all the way down. Then he was like, but plan B, we're gonna blow him like a balloon. He's gonna shoot all the way back up. And I was like, it was like way more than shoot him with a bigger missile is what I feel like most Godzilla movies do. Like we're gonna hit him with something bigger. But it's just like now we're gonna like try and outthink it and like use the environment to it. I don't know. I thought it was very, very clever and they kept saying, it's like, oh, we can't pick him up with our boats. That's too much weight. And then, like I said, the guy comes in with the tugboats, and I'm like, I don't know how long it took him to tie those tugboats, but I was totally.
I know. That's what I was thinking. It's like, how they tie those so fast? It's like, I thought they were going to use the oxygen destroyer from the original movie because when they had that like machine, you're like, woo. There was one more part I wanted to point out. Talk again, Jared, or someone. I'll think about it.
Another fanboy thing was his atomic breath in this. It was just like crazy. Usually it's like fire and it's like pretty devastating. And then like Shen, his was just like a concentrated laser, which kind of just like cut through things. This was just insane. Like it just went, and then it has that silence like in the Star Wars movie, and then just like atomic bomb. And you're like, good Lord. And it's huge in this one because like the aftermath, even Godzilla's like, kind of like admiring it, kind of. He's like, wow, that's a lot. And then he goes off, and you're just like, dang, this one's insane.
I didn't know I could do that.
That was a cool scene when he's like looking at it when it's over the city.
That
and
was
it's like
very, very cool shot.
Yeah.
Was that okay? When those reporters like got like owned by Godzilla, was that a nod to like the American version of the original Godzilla, where it has like the reporter standing out the windows, like, I can see him right now. Yeah, this is going on right now. It's like, well, you know what? We're just gonna kill that guy. Screw that guy.
Probably.
I like how he just like unintentionally killed him. His hip just hit the building, and then they go falling down. He walks.
I know he did a lot of tail swinging.
Just like side check the building. Like, whatever.
Like, wee.
But man, the destruction looked good too when he was like just running through buildings and stuff like that. I was like, dang. What else? There was something.
I am happy that there wasn't a lot of how do I put this? Pro Japanese military, I guess.
Like, it was very like anti-military, anti-government.
I was just like, if it goes that way, I'm like, I'm out. Like, I can't do that. But it was very much trying to make up for not just mistakes, I guess, but just like I say dishonor, but that's like a whole stereotype of that. But you know what I mean. So
yeah, I like its theming, the whole like valuing life instead of just like throwing it away. That's what me and kind of Carlos were talking about after this. Just the theming of this one was really cool.
Yeah, even like with the simple lines of like, we didn't have ejector seats, but now we're going to change that. We're going to focus more on keeping people alive, and the life is important.
Yeah, that doctor's good speech before the whole fight was good.
Yeah, that was really good. Yeah.
Fun fact about World War II fighter planes: almost none of them had ejector seats. They just rolled out.
Hey,
yeah, pretty much.
I think there was a little American influence from the American Godzilla movies when they're showing kind of the islands and Godzilla going through the islands and stuff like that. That reminded me a lot of the Monarch
boats
stuff
and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of the Monarch.
It's funny, like all the new fans, like obviously like the 18-year-olds and stuff, and like that they're like, was that Monarch stuff?
Yeah,
and you're like, I guess so. I'm here for like Godzilla, like old Godzilla stuff, but
yeah, there was it did a good job like blending some newer stuff. Like even Godzilla's look, like his face is a little broader, like the newer Godzilla.
It's a little thicker.
Yeah.
Boy.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too. Like, it's kind of like canon to like all of it. So, it doesn't like step on any toes of the other ones. So I don't know. I really like.
Yeah.
After this movie, I was just like, man, that was good. The whole time I know. Driving home, I was like, God, that's a good movie.
I know. I was the same. I like you. It's probably my movie of the year, but. We did gotta talk about the ending. The ending's a little weird. So like you said, the girl somehow survives, and I don't know if you saw it, but she has like this black.
I didn't know what that was.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that.
Anyone any guesses
Jared,
on that?
Help!
I was so confused at that. Like I don't know what they were teasing or.
I was talking to, I guess Jonah at the end of it. It's like the biggest thing for me is like the ending was kind of all right, but it will never top Shin for me. Just that weird, like, what is going on? And I wonder if they're kind of tapping into some of that. I don't know. Just the whole.
I mean, that guess could explain how she survived that somehow. Is whatever's going on with her
like
neck.
some kind of mutation link. I don't know. So
yeah.
And then the very end, of course, you see like the remains of Godzilla, his core or whatever it is, like sinking in, and so you're pretty sure he's coming back for a sequel. So, are you guys excited for a sequel?
Yeah. Get him like a little bit more of a budget to have a little more freedom with the CGI, and heck yeah, man.
I got the new one coming out too.
True. Kong Boy and Lizard Man.
Godzilla X Kong
GX
New Empire.
Are we getting everyone back? Like all the Tom Hiddleston, everything? Did he die? I don't remember that movie at all.
No, it was the 70s, so he's just like an old man now.
He's way older, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, okay, I guess that's spoilers for the bonus stuff, but the show deals with some weird aging that I'll talk about. Yeah.
All right. Jared, what did you have something left to say?
Nah, I'll talk. I'm honestly going to talk about it more like during bonus stuff. So
okay. Well, shout out to bonus stuff. You guys need to watch it.
Teasing it.
Apparently, there's going to be a lot of stuff.
Extra Godzilla.
Well, so, Joseph just kind of imploded for a second.
So go check out bonus stuff, which comes out on Fridays. So you will see this on a Wednesday. But that's going to do it for That's Good Stuff this time. Like, subscribe, and notify yourself, and we will see you next time. Bye.